Hey everyone, I'm Miss Garza, and in case you didn't know that, I'm a seventh grade English teacher, and today we're going to be talking about what the heck are sentences. There are four types of sentences. We're going to be talking about simple, compound, complex, and compound complex. If you aren't sure what a clause is, you're going to need to know that, so I recommend that you actually go see the video, What the Heck is a Clause? It's going to be really helpful for you to understand exactly what I'm talking about when I talk about subject and predicate. But if you already watched that, then let's go ahead and get started. Let's dive in. Okay, so as this loads, there we go. What the heck are a sentence? Let's start with the easiest sentence. That is a simple sentence, and it's an independent clause. Simple as that. Here's what you need. You're going to need a subject, a predicate, a capital letter, and terminal punctuation. A subject is a noun or a pronoun, most likely. You're going to have a predicate, which is a verb or a verb phrase, a capital letter at the beginning, and a terminal punctuation at the end. My example is really easy. It's worms wiggle. So I'll show you the sentence diagram for that. This right here, this highlighting and underlining, this is what a sentence diagram is. It's when you separate things and kind of color code them into their parts of speech. So the subject or the noun in this sentence is worms. And what they're doing is the predicate, that's the verb, and they wiggle. And I've used a capital letter, I capitalized it, and I have terminal punctuation with my period. That ends the sentence. But you don't have the terminal punctuation, it's still just an independent clause. It really doesn't count as a sentence. But let's go ahead and move on. It's pretty simple, right? Worms wiggle. A compound sentence is when you take two independent clauses and you stick them together with a conjunction. So you're going to need two subjects, two predicates, a capital letter, terminal punctuation, but you're also going to need a comma and a conjunction or a semicolon. So you can do it two ways. You can take these independent clauses and you can smush them together with a comma and a conjunction, or you can just put a semicolon in the middle, but you can't just stick them together, otherwise it doesn't make sense. It will make sense when you see the example though. Okay, so my example is worms wiggle and creepies crawl, or you can say worms wiggles, creepies crawl. One flows better than the other, I feel. I feel like with a semicolon, it doesn't maybe flow as well. It's still grammatically correct, though. So the conjunction is here in blue, and there's the comma right before it. That's always the way it's going to look. It's pretty simple. All right, next one. So this is a complex sentence. Complex sentences tend to give people a little bit of trouble because they normally put things together that don't really belong, or they think they're making a complex sentence when they're really making a compound sentence, and it gets a little confusing. But it's still pretty straightforward. You're going to have an independent clause, which we really talked about for simple sentences, as a subject and a predicate. You're going to have a dependent clause. If you don't know what a clause is, this is the time to stop this video and go back to what the heck is a clause. A dependent clause is the same as an independent clause, except it starts most likely with a subordinating conjunction. So my example is, if worms wiggle, creepies crawl. The if is my subordinating conjunction. Worms wiggle is an independent clause, or I'm sorry, if worms wiggle is a dependent clause. This whole sentence, because it starts with an if, makes it a dependent clause. Creepies crawl, on the other hand, is an independent clause because there is no subordinating conjunction in front of it. You can write it the other way around as well. So worms wiggle, that's my independent clause, after creepies crawl. The after creepies crawl, that's the dependent clause. The after is the subordinating conjunction. Okay, not too bad. Let's move on. The last, oh, these are woobuses. Okay, so an awubus is an acronym for subordinating conjunctions. Some people use a white bus. It's a little more in depth. Awubus is or just some of the common subordinating conjunctions. So if you see one of these words, after, although, as, while, when, until, before, because, if, and since, in front of a clause, it's a dependent clause, or next to a clause, it's going to be dependent. And so that's just a good, helpful hint. I will probably do a separate video on awubus or a white bus because I need to learn it too. So let's move on. All right, this is the big one. This is the Big Mac, the holy mackerel. It is the compound complex sentence. This is when we're going to smush all that knowledge that we just got and we're going to put it all together in one sentence. And it's not going to be a run-on. Okay, let's do it. So a compound complex sentence is two or more independent clauses and two or more dependent clauses. That sounds like a lot. It kind of is, but we're only going to do one kind of example. I'm just going to make it as simple as possible. So to make a compound complex sentence, you're going to need one compound sentence and another dependent clause. So that means that the compound sentence has an independent clause, a dependent clause, and that conjunction, right? And then the dependent clause, of course, is a clause with a subordinating conjunction. You still have your capital letter and your terminal punctuation. Okay, so my example is worms wiggle and creepies crawl because crickets leap. So my independent clause, worms wiggle, all right, that's half the compound sentence, and creepies crawl. That's another independent clause. It's joined by a conjunction there. So that's my compound sentence. And now all I have left to add, like I said, was the dependent clause, which is because crickets leap. Because it's subordinating conjunction, crickets leap, there's your clause. I have terminal punctuation and a capital letter, and I've made a compound complex sentence. Master of the Big Mac. All right, that's it. That's really all there is. If you feel like this was really fast, you can always go back and rewatch, take some notes. I actually recommend that you Google this. If you have any trouble, you can always literally type in the words, what is a compound sentence? And it will come up on Google. It's normally like the second link after the definition. So if you need any other help, though, you can also go to my website. That's www.elainspire.weebly.com. And remember, reading inspires. Bye, guys.